All right, y'all. So I really want to explain how to interpret your own birth chart because that does seem to be a common question. Like, what does it mean when a planet is in a certain house and so on? So when we look at our natal wheel, this is essentially a snapshot at our time of birth. Personally, I learned astrology with the Placidius house system. Over the years, I decided that whole house was actually a lot more accurate for me. The whole house system is actually the system that they used during the Renaissance. It's the oldest house system for astrology. I find it to be the most accurate. Again, to each their own. If you study Placidius, that's great. You know, like whatever. Astrology is multi-layered. So it's like taking a road trip to San Diego. Everybody's going to get there a different way, right? But the point is we get there. So it's an individualistic experience. So do you. Now, in whole house astrology and Placidius, right here, the first house, okay, that is your ascendant, aka your rising sign. So that is the most personal part of your birth chart. That's why it's so important as astrologers that we have your exact birth time. We really need that in order to be able to see where this chart is going to start and where it's going to end, because the first house tells us so much about your individualistic journey through astrology. Now, the first house is there at 9 o'clock. Now we're going to go through counterclockwise through the houses. You may have houses that don't have any planets. That doesn't mean that you don't have the house. It just means that you don't have a planet that's actually occupying it. It still is a part of your birth chart. It's just we don't always have every house occupied. So now when you hear me talk about in my videos, sun in the first house, moon in the 12th house, what we're talking about is at that snapshot in time, at your exact time of birth, where is the moon in these little, where's the moon or sun in these little individual pieces of, I call them little pieces of pie, right? So you want to look at that. So like when I look at someone's chart, when I do a consultation, I always look to certain houses to see what the overall theme of this person, their personality, their upbringing, their challenges, their aptitudes. You can see all of that when you look at a chart. And it's really interesting because literally almost every chart is different. I very rarely have ever seen charts that are exactly the same. Like they really are very individual. Even twins can have completely different birth charts, you know, hence different birth times. So for beginners, just remember, start at the first house, count counterclockwise. Okay, so stay tuned for part 2 and we'll talk about predictive astrology. For now, you know how to at least maneuver your birth chart and see what planets are occupying which houses.